Hello, in this video we are going to create a new Plan Endpoint in the Right Management console. You need to at least have the WMC user status to have access to the Endpoints tab. It is also possible to import or export endpoints. For now, I'm going to create a new Plan Endpoint. We now have a subdivided window, one with the general settings and period settings on the left side, and one for the dimension settings on the right side. Choose the database connection you want to connect to and set a name for the new endpoint. You may choose one or multiple spaces for this endpoint, but you can only set spaces that your user has access to. The default setting for the reload type is full app reload, which is generally the most preferred method, followed by partial app reload. You could also choose task reload, but that is only available for ClickSense server on Enterprise. Now moving to the dimension settings, I can finally add all the dimensions my table will have. These will later be the dimensions lists on the left side of the right plan module. Every dimension will automatically be a primary key of type string in the database table. And because every entry is a primary key, the dimension settings cannot be altered after saving. You may choose to enable history in the general settings for a detailed overview of each data change before moving on. Usually, you would already have the right period presets, so you would just choose the one you need. You could also just add periods manually. Click Configure Presets opens the period presets. Here you can create, edit and delete presets. For this table, I want a new quarter period preset with 4 periods. If everything is entered correctly, the new plan endpoint can be saved. The corresponding database tables of the endpoint will now be generated fully automatically. Doing so shows us the data model for Click. It can also be copied by clicking the button on the right upper corner. I now have a data location for my endpoint with the number of columns I just created plus all periods. The last thing for me to do now is to connect the new endpoint in my right object in the Click app. To do so, just go to your extensions property panel and click on Server Settings. The endpoint will appear in the drop-down list. With this newly created endpoint, we are going to have a look into my database. In this case with SQLite Studio. The structure will always be the same. It doesn't matter if you use MariaDB, PostgreSQL, or any other database management system. In general, table names follow a simple pattern. The W represents write, and the following letter the extension. E for edit and P for plan. Following is the type of the table and lastly the name of the endpoint. There are 3 different tables to one plan endpoint. The info table, which is important for upcoming features. The period table, which saves the name of every period. And the most important one, the data table. The data table holds the most current data. Besides the defined dimensions and the periods on the left, it also contains the columns deleted, changed by, and updated at. This way, changes can be tracked by whom it was saved, when it was saved, and what the current version is. The info and the data table also have a view, which is located under Views. Those show us the same data available in the history table extended with an isCurrent flag. This represents the latest change per primary key. There are also the history tables HInfo and HData. While they are also created on initiating an endpoint, they don't hold any information until Enable History is switched on. This setting is usually disabled because it creates a lot of data that is, in most business cases, not valuable. Instead, users use the Create New Budget functionality to create different versions of planning scenarios. This sums up the basic information you need to know about the right plan data structure. For more information, please check out our right YouTube channel or have a look into the right manual.